Thanks, Emily. Maine's Attorney General is suing manufacturers of the so-called forever chemicals that have contaminated farms and wells, contending they knew about the toxicity decades ago but concealed the information from the public. The lawsuit targeting DuPont, 3M, and others seeks to recover costs to investigate, mitigate, and monitor contamination. Attorney General Aaron Fry said the state is working overtime to identify and deal with contamination. A DuPont spokesperson says the company doesn't comment on litigation but believes the complaints are without merit. 3M didn't immediately respond to a message seeking comment. Authorities have detected high levels of PFAS in bodies of water, in wells, and even in some wildlife like deer. A bigger problem appears to be large-scale contamination of farms where sludge was spread, causing PFAS contamination. Governor Mills applauded the lawsuits and said the companies must be held accountable.